important legal case in the United States over the most commonly used abortion drug, mifepristone, which has been in use for more than 20 years. So on the weekend, the US Supreme Court preserved access to the drug, rejecting a lower court's decision. Our American in Oz, Sara James, is here to talk us through what is actually a very significant story in the United States. It is actually huge news. So how did we get here?
Well, let's start with the saga back in Texas. At the early part of the month, one judge made the decision that this drug should not be allowed, that the FDA needed to suspend its approval of the drug, and he said this is because it wasn't clear that the drug was safe and effective, and they'd rushed the trials. Now, let's point out, the drug's been on the market for more than 20 years. So what followed was the sound of a flurry of lawsuits all across the country. It's winding its way through the courts. It's now going to go back to the Court of Appeals. That'll probably happen in May. But stay tuned. The final word on this has not happened. That'll probably go to the court in the American autumn and be decided in the spring of next year, right in the thick of the presidential campaign. So here are the stakes. Depending on what the Supreme Court decided, you could discover that this drug, which is the most commonly used drug for an abortion, could be off the market potentially across the country. I mean, it is unsettled law, and precisely how they will go about it hasn't been figured out.
And we all know that a woman's access to abortion was a big political issue in the midterms and swung a lot of votes, especially in those key contests. So watch that space. And speaking of 2024, a pretty big milestone about to be reached, a big announcement coming our way.
That's exactly right. We expect that President Biden will announce that he is running again. You can anticipate that abortion will be just one of the issues that will be considered. And just while we're talking about that, it's important to note that that particular decision, a lot of those weighing in aren't just in the political arena. They're people with drug companies, pharma companies saying, wait a minute, if we decide to do this with this medicine, what about other medicines that might be considered unpopular, like vaccines or the birth control pill?
Right.
What might happen to them? Who gets to decide in the United States that a drug is safe and effective? That has been the purview of the Food and Drug Administration.
And clearly it's just so significant, just briefly, because of the Roe versus Wade decision, which was overturned. So for many women now, this is their easiest and certainly the most accessible way to get an abortion.
That is exactly right, and again, to be determined by the courts. But one more little note to leave you with. Americans are saying, gee, we sure would like some younger people in the arena. So there's a new NBC News poll which is showing that 70% of Americans are saying, gee, we really wish President Biden wouldn't run again. So he's going to have to do that kind of uphill.
70%, that's a lot.
That's a lot, including some Democrats in that number. So what is that going to mean, and how is that going to play out? We don't know yet.
2020 redux. I'm pretty sure that's how it's
That's
going to play
exactly
out
what it's looking like, Michael. We thought it wouldn't happen, but it's very much looking like
well, it's
like the Hollywood remake, right?
Yeah,
round two.
He's got a lock on the Republican nomination. I think most people agree.
There's no doubt. Well, just a tiny little addition on that. Ron DeSantis, who was looking like his closest competitor, went to Washington to kind of do some charm school, and I think he needs some new lessons because he did get a lot of people to commit, but they committed for Trump.
Yes, in his home state.
In his home state. In his home state. So that did not go as planned. He is an unannounced candidate, but nevertheless, definitely checking out the waters.
He's touring lots of countries as well at the moment.
Oh, he's making all the noises, but
Exactly. So that did not go according to plan.
Ways to go.
Thanks, Sarah.
All right,
We'll chat to you soon. Thank you very much.